Right then, it's emerged, supposedly, that Pochettino and Erik ten Hag are the two main candidates for the Manchester United manager post following the summer. Pochettino's basically come out and said doesn't expect to be managing PSG by the end of the summer, which puts him in a really weird spot, I guess, for the end of this season. How you can expect to impose discipline when they already know you're going is beyond me. We saw it with Pellegrini when they knew Pep Guardiola was coming in. They just fell off a cliff. And Erik ten Hag is obviously the other major sort of candidate that's out there that a lot of people would favour. But for me, it's simple. United need to stay clear of Pochettino. The guy has benefited from that London-biased media that we have in Britain and has actually achieved extremely little to warrant getting a job of this magnitude. Now, honours-wise, he won the London Football Manager of the Year, 2019. He's won the Coupe de France 2021 and also the Trophée des Champions, which is the French charity shield. When he took over PSG, they were top of the league, I think by a point, and he managed to come second in a one-horse race. This is following coming third in a two-horse race in England and allowing Leicester to win the league. And people will talk about, he didn't have the resources, and he signed 27 players spending over £300 million. He had one window where I think they spent nothing, which has got to be frustrating, admittedly. But the team at the time was a very good side, and I remember saying, to improve this Tottenham side, you're going to have to spend 80, 90 million per player. You can't pick up a 30, 40 million pound player, drop him into that Spurs 11 and improve it. You can't, because it was a very good Spurs 11. The squad depth wasn't there, admittedly, but it was a solid Spurs 11 that you were getting a decent result out of. I think Poch plays a perfectly fine style of football, but there's just a way about him that I can't take to. When you look at the way he's just thrown Xavi Simons under the bus for missing a penalty, and you look at the way some other managers will protect a youngster at all costs, it's not good, and it's certainly not advisable. Now, what's led him to this position? He finished 8th in his first full season at Southampton, and it was their highest league position since 2003, and it was their highest points tally since the Premier League began, which was then bettered by Ronald Koeman. He came third in the 15-16 season, a season where they should have won the league, in all honesty. Arsenal came second and Spurs came third, but also it was Spurs' highest league finish since 1990. They beat Ajax on away goals to get to the Champions League final in 2019 after being 2-0 down. 3-0 aggregate, and they lost the final to Liverpool 2-0 in just an absolute stinky performance. Ten Hag finds himself in the mixer for being the fastest manager in Eredivisie history to win 100 games with Ajax, doing it in 128 games. And I know you're thinking, Steve, this is the PSG of the Dutch league, but it's not. Ajax actually had been cut adrift for a serious amount of time, and was certainly underperforming in a massive way. Admittedly, they still have a budget that blows most of the Dutch league out of the water, but they hadn't been performing prior to him coming in. He creates a team that becomes the hipsters' favourite. It's a team that gets picked apart on the route to Spurs getting to that Champions League final. And once his team's completely disassembled, he has to go back to the drawing board and successfully manages to do that. Won the league in 19 and 21. Done a double both of those seasons, actually. And for me, his win ratio just far outstrips it. He's got a little bit more experience than people assume. He started with Go Ahead Eagles, where he had a pretty ordinary 46% win ratio. He then took the Bayern Munich second team, where he had a 66% win ratio, and I have no idea if that's good or not. In relation to anybody else that's in the mixer around them there. He then took over Utrecht and managed to get a 50.45 win percentage, which is a strong one. And then his current Ajax side, 73.98 win percentage, which is extremely good. Pochettino managed a 32% win ratio with Espanyol, a 38% win ratio with Southampton, and a 54% win ratio with Tottenham. Since he's been at PSG, he's got his best ever win percentage, which is 66.67. But he has lost 10 games in 66 appearances so far. That win percentage at PSG, I think it needs to be framed with the fact that he's probably got the strongest PSG squad ever, both in terms of its relation to the rest of France and European football, and it's nearly 10% worse than Unai Emery's win percentage at PSG, and it's about 8% worse than Tommy Tuchel's. Pochettino said it's a difficult time to develop projects in football. You buy a club and you want a title after 3 months. Don't know what that means. And we're going to have the debate whether a trophy will take the club to the next level. I don't agree with it. It only builds your ego. The most important thing for Tottenham is to always be in the top 4. Solskjaer actually said a similar quote, but there was a different emphasis on it. And all the Pochettino fans absolutely panned him and then said nothing about Poch saying it. Ten Hag's also come out and he's got some quotes of his own. He says, "We've achieved something, but we want to do more. We don't want to rest on our laurels. The team's good. We're fit, eager and fresh, and we can certainly perform at our best. We know that. Guardiola's philosophy is sensational, what he did at Barcelona and Bayern and now with City. The attacking and attractive style sees him win a lot. It's a structure that I've tried to implement with Ajax, and I want to have possession and hurt the opponent. It's about possession, about movement, about vertical attacking patterns, about pressing, wingers moving into the middle to make room for the fullbacks. Everyone is attacking, everyone is defending." I like that. The most important thing for me is that I like the fact that he had a team completely disassembled, didn't flap and managed to win a title the following season. That's extremely impressive with 1 season off in the middle, but the league was cancelled. That's extremely impressive for me from what Ten Hag has done. And I think when you look at what Pochettino achieved, a lot of it's been replicated by other managers around him, and a lot of it you can put down to the director of football, Paul Mitchell, head of recruitment, Paul Mitchell, bringing in some of the excellent players that he had both of those clubs. And the fact Ronald Koeman went on and bettered what he did at Southampton before they sold all of their players to Liverpool just tells you exactly what is important here in football. And the fact that he's got an absolute dream team, and I'm not just talking about the forward 3, I'm talking about the whole squad. From Verratti and Ramos, Herrera struggling to get a game. Di Maria, whether we like him or not, is an excellent footballer. And the fact that he's been gifted all of these players and he's an almost 10% worse than Unai Emery. Come on. Why are we still chasing this clown? And I say this knowing that there's probably more than 50% chance he is the next United manager. If it's him and Ten Hag, I actually think there's more chance of it being him than I think it is Ten Hag. But I think it would be a mistake. I don't think he's got the balls, the cojones, to be the United manager. I think that the pressure that he's displayed, and I also don't think necessarily Ten Hag has answered this question fully yet either, because Ajax is different to Manchester United. But showing how he's failed to cope with the pressure and the egos at Paris Saint-Germain, with everything that he could ever want, tells me that at Manchester United, we need someone who's a ruthless winner. And this guy ain't it. This guy ain't it. There's not one occasion where you can tell me that he's tactically outclassed an opponent. Using tactics, not players, I'm talking about tactics. Not once. He doesn't win the big games. He doesn't win the big moments. The guy's not a winner. And when you look at what Ten Hag is doing with the budget at his disposal, the football that they are playing, the performance that they're putting up, smashing the likes of Sporting and Dortmund in the Champions League, that's a winner. That is a ruthless winning machine. And my only worry is the quote about him coming out and talking about wanting to work in a structure and an environment that allows him to be a success felt like a come and get me to Manchester City. Because Ten Hag, especially the way he name drops Guardiola constantly, is tailor-made for what a well-run club like Manchester City would do. And I can guarantee that United, not being a well-run club, go, Pochettino, Fergie likes him, get him. And that's what worries me.